As many of you may already know, the Zenith is regarded as the most powerful weapon in all of Terraria, with the ability to shred through bosses in just a matter of seconds. However, getting all the materials required to craft this weapon can be quite a grind. So, in this video, I'm going to be attempting to beat Terraria using only the swords required to craft this weapon. Will I be able to beat the final boss Moonlord, or will I give up trying? Stay tuned to find out. Alright, so we started off this playthrough like any other playthrough, except for one important factor. Every single character upon creation receives a copper short sword, which just so happens to be the first of many swords in this playthrough. It has a very short range and incredibly weak base damage, so I would like to replace it as soon as possible. Now there are a few candidates for swords that we can replace the current one with. The first of which being the Blade of Grass, which is crafted using resources found in the extremely dangerous underground jungle, which I'm definitely not prepared for right now, so we can rule that one off. The next being the Star Fury, which is found in floating islands in space, which can be extremely difficult to access without a gravitational potion, so we can rule that one off. The last one being the Enchanted Sword, which is found in shrines in the outer thirds of the world, and right now, that's our best option, so I set foot towards the jungle side of the world in search for the shrine to get the Enchanted Sword. And after dying over and over and over again, we finally made it through the jungle. And upon exiting it, I was lucky enough to find the shrine right on the surface. I mean, that's pretty lucky. I quickly took the opportunity to mine up the sword, and then rushed back home before anything had a chance to kill me. I then created a quick house to provide us with a little bit of protection during the night. I honestly felt like I don't have enough health and I'm dying too easily. So I decided to go to the caves to mine a few life crystals to increase my health, so that then I don't die to the most easiest of mobs like a slime. And along the way I found some Hermes boots and a cloud in the bottle, which will help our mobility and help us jump higher and run faster, which is a big step up from our slow ass character.
Do you think you could go any faster?
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
Before challenging the Eye of Cthulhu, I wanted to get a new sword. Something with more power. Sure, the Enchanted Sword has projectiles, which is great. But for the second stage of the Eye of Cthulhu, when it's raging around and dashing around all over the place, this just is not gonna cut it. So for my next sword, I chose the Blade of Grass, which has a base damage of a shocking 30 melee damage, which is great this early on. So I set foot to the jungle to collect the 12 stingers, 16 jungle spores and 3 vines required to craft it. When I had collected all the resources required, I went back home and I crafted the Blade of Grass. And I was lucky enough to get the Keen modifier, which adds a 15% critical chance. After that, I used a gravitation potion which I found in one of the jungle chests to go up into space to a floating island in search for the Star Fury, which will replace our current Enchanted Sword as it has a higher base damage. Unfortunately, right when I was looking for the Star Fury, I felt an evil presence watching me, which meant that the Eye of Cthulhu was about to spawn. I quickly built a little arena and waited for the Eye of Cthulhu to spawn.
Fight!
Oh my god! Are you recording, Crystal?
Feeling confident with this new victory, I decided to go to the Crimson biome to challenge the brain of Cthulhu to hopefully get some tissue samples to craft a Deathbringer pickaxe. I built a quick platform and then threw a bomb to destroy the last orb, which then summoned him in.
That was easy.
Now that the Brain of Cthulhu is defeated, I can craft the Deathbringer pickaxe and go mining for some Hellstone to upgrade my armor. I get a boost of defense and damage output by upgrading to the Molten Armor set, which will be very useful against the Wall of Flesh and Skeletron. After prepping to fight Skeletron, I set foot towards the underground desert in search of the magic conch, as I found out that travelling to the dungeon by foot takes way too long. And after looking for it for almost an hour, we had finally found it in a desert chest.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
Which meant that we could travel to the dungeon more easily. Now that I was fully ready to fight Skeletron, I went over to the dungeon and summoned him in. And let's just say it went really well.
Got him!
After absolutely decimating Skeletron's juicy little booty hole,
Hey yo, what the fuck? Is this nigga serious?
I went to hell to summon in the wall of meaty goodness, the wall of fresh. Let's just say that I absolutely pulverized him, thus marking the beginning of hard mode. Hard mode, where every single living thing is trying to put an end to your miserable life. It is a massive step up in difficulty from pre-hard mode. And considering that there are no new weapons for us to use until we defeat one of the mechanical bosses, just makes it even more difficult. So I decided to hit the caves to progress through all the hard mode rules. First was Palladium, and then Mithril, and then I dripped myself out with a full Adamantite set, which granted a significant damage booster. After going in space to collect some Souls of Flight from the Rivens, and using that to craft some wings, I challenged our first boss, the Destroyer, and let's just say it did not go too well, with me just getting a small fraction out of his health before dying eventually. I decided that this small platform was just not going to cut it, and it's too high to fight the Destroyer, so I expanded it a little bit to make it bigger so that then I can maneuver around the boss easily. Surprisingly, because of this small issue being fixed, I had finally defeated our first mechanical boss, the Destroyer. After getting some hallowed bars from the Destroyer, we used them to craft the next weapon in this playthrough, the Excalibur, which had a rework in the latest update. Just as I was about to summon in the twins, I received a message that the air was getting colder around me, which meant that Skeletron Prime was about to spawn in.
Fight!
Now, I'm really mad.
Now that I had defeated all the mechanical bosses, I could finally upgrade my Knight's Edge and Excalibur to their true form. So that's exactly what I did. I used all the souls of Fright, Sight and Might to upgrade my Knight's Edge, and I went mining for some chlorophyte to upgrade my Excalibur to the true Excalibur. I mean, just look at the reach on that thing. After that, I went over to the underground jungle to break a bulb to summon in Plantera. Honestly, she's probably the middest boss in Terraria. Like, she's way too easy, they should give her a buff or something. Luckily, on the first try, I got the next weapon in this playthrough, the Seedler, which will help us fight Golem. Feeling confident with my new weapon from Plantera, the Seedler, I traversed through the Lizard Temple in order to challenge our next boss, Golem. And after a few minutes of fighting, he eventually fell to me, meaning that now the cultists will spawn in the dungeon. So, using the true Excalibur and True Knight's Edge, I crafted arguably the best pre-Moonlord weapon, the Terraria. I then went over to the dungeon to challenge the lunatic cultist, and using our sexy new weapon, the Terrorblade, we absolutely destroyed him. After defeating all 4 of the pillars, first of which being the Nebula, and then the Solar, then the Vortex, and lastly the Stardust pillar, I only had 1 minute to prepare to fight the Moonlord, as impending doom was approaching. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Oh my god, I actually did it! Fuck's sake, that was so close. Oh my god. Now, before we end this video, there is actually one more thing that we need to do, and that is to actually craft the Zenith. So, I set out to collect the 3 remaining swords. First, I killed the Moonlord in order to get the Meow Meow. And then, during a pumpkin moon, I killed the Pumpkin to get the Horseman's Blade. Finally, I went over to a beehive in order to kill the Queen Bee for the Beekeeper. Now that we had collected all of the swords, I felt excitement coursing through my veins as I finally crafted the Zenith. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and comment down below what would you guys like to see next.